So you're here. Good. I was hoping for company. You see, I've got stories, dark ones, chilling ones, the kind that keep you up at night. Mythical creatures, curses, horrors you can't escape. Shall we begin? Don't worry, I won't bite. Much.
Ghost marriages, also known as yin weddings, are an ancient Chinese tradition. In some regions, if a young person dies unmarried, their family may seek a spouse for them, conducting a ritual to wed two spirits. This practice ensures that their souls do not become wandering ghosts, lonely and restless in the underworld. This custom dates back to the Qin and Han dynasties and still exists in some rural areas today. But a ghost marriage isn't always about the dead. Sometimes the living is chosen instead, just like DJ. DJ was a cart driver who made his living transporting goods. He never asked too many questions, just took the money and did the job. Today, he was hired by the wealthy Zhang family to deliver a red draped coffin to the Ghost Ridge, a remote and eerie place few dared to visit. The pay was exceedingly high, which made DJ suspicious. Before he left, the Zhang family's steward warned him, "You must arrive before sunset. No matter what happens, do not open the coffin. If you hear any noises, do not respond." DJ found these instructions odd, but money was money. But when he laid eyes on the coffin, his heart skipped a beat. The coffin was pitch black, covered with a faded red cloth. Torn silk ribbons wrapped its four corners with golden embroidery now dulled with age. It looked like a wedding coffin. He had heard old stories. A red-clothed coffin usually means a ghost bride, which meant inside it was a dead bride meant for a ghost marriage. DJ shivered but quickly harnessed his horse, trying to put the thought out of his mind. He wasn't a superstitious man, but such things always carried an ominous air. The night wind grew colder, and the blood-red moon in the sky looked like a glaring, swollen eye watching over the land. Just when he thought about speeding up and getting this job done, a low thud echoed from behind him. Thump. DJ froze. The sound had come from inside the coffin. He held his breath. Then, thump, thump, thump. It sounded like someone gently knocking on the lid. A cold sweat dripped down his back. He suddenly remembered the Zhang steward's warning. Do not respond. But at that moment, a soft, eerie sobbing came from inside the coffin. Help me. The voice was so faint, it could have been just the wind, yet it carried an unbearable sorrow. Before he could think, DJ instinctively blurted out, "Who's there?" The words left his mouth before he could stop himself. The second he spoke, he realized he had made a terrible mistake. At that moment, bang! The coffin shook violently, and suddenly, a pale, lifeless hand shot out from the coffin's gap. The fingers were thin and bony, the nails long, blackened and cracked, reaching for him. DJ screamed, nearly falling off the cart. His mind blanked for a second, then his instincts kicked in. He kicked the coffin with all his strength. Bang! The coffin toppled off the cart, tumbling down the steep, dark hillside, disappearing into the thick mist below. Gasping, DJ scrambled back onto the cart and whipped the horse with everything he had. Go! Go! The horse whinnied in terror and bolted down the road, charging into the darkness. DJ could finally breathe again. He had escaped, or so he thought. Little did he know, the real horror was yet to come. It was midnight when DJ finally stopped to catch his breath. He had been driving for hours, his heart still pounding from the earlier encounter. Looking around, he saw an abandoned temple in the distance. The temple was half collapsed, its old wooden doors slightly open as if inviting him in. A broken plaque hung above the entrance, the faded characters barely legible. Squinting, he barely made out the words, "Ghost Marriage." DJ stiffened. His gut screamed at him to leave, but before he could move, he turned and his heart nearly stopped, because the coffin he had kicked down the hill was now sitting in front of the temple, completely intact. The lid was slightly open as if waiting for him to come closer. His hair stood on end. How? He had seen it fall into the ravine. How was it back? His breathing grew ragged. His legs wanted to run, but a soft, chilling song suddenly drifted from inside the temple. "The groom has arrived. The wedding shall begin." DJ froze. He felt a presence behind him. A cold breath brushed against his ear. Then, a woman's eerie whisper, "I finally found you." DJ turned slowly and came face to face with the bride in a red wedding dress. She stood right behind him, her face pale as paper, her dark eyes hollow, her lips curved into a chilling smile. She lifted her icy hand, brushing against his cheek. Her voice was gentle, yet cold as death. "My husband, the wedding awaits." Her red sleeves suddenly shot out, wrapping around him like ghostly tendrils, and dragged him into the coffin. DJ awoke in darkness. His body was bound, trapped in a tight space. His breath quickened. He realized he was inside a coffin. He struggled, but he couldn't move. Then he heard it. Outside the coffin, he heard the sound of funeral trumpets, drums, and eerie laughter. A wedding procession. Through the tiny gap of the coffin lid, a pale hand slowly slid inside. A soft, eerie voice whispered, "The groom must enter the bridal chamber now." Bang! The coffin lid slammed shut. A year later, the Zhang family arranged another ghost marriage. This time, they found a corpse dressed in a red groom's robe. His face was pale, his eyes wide open, and his lips curved into a twisted smile.